For the record, today is Thursday, the 16th of April, 2026.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Wonderful to see you here. And today we're talking about what is law, and we have got Cliff, who is this evening's educator. And before I hand you over to Cliff, I'm going to read our disclaimer. Dear people, we are sharing this presentation and related information for your private educational use only. Please note that this material is provided on the basis that the author and the publisher are not engaged in rendering legal or professional advice and assume no liability. Any decisions made or actions executed based on this material are ultimately at your discretion. As individuals, we each interpret and comprehend information uniquely, and the responsibility for how we use educational material lies with us. I trust that everyone reviewing this content has the wisdom to follow their own course. The choice and the implications are yours alone. With gratitude, love, honor, and integrity. Good evening, all. Cliff, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, beautifully, as always. Thank you.
That's wonderful, and I'm quite excited because tonight is part one of what is law, and I think the emphasis on know who you are, I think, was a great start to just climb into the information and get grounding. But before we do that, I'd like to start off with a little bit of a opening prayer in the form of grounding. And then I will climb into each slide. I'll hit share and we'll climb into each slide, and I'll go through the information as I've prepared it. Let us begin by becoming still. Take a slow breath in and gently release. We arrive here as living men and women, not as titles, not as labels, not as constructs, but as the breath of life made manifest. We acknowledge the source of creation, the intelligence that sustains all things, the field in which all truth is remembered. Tonight, we open our hearts to understanding, our minds to clarity, and our spirits to the remembrance of who we truly are. May this space be protected, guided by truth, and aligned with natural law. May everything we learned tonight, including myself, restore dignity, responsibility, sovereignty, and accountability within each man and each woman present. We set the intention that this gathering be for awakening, not for division, for empowerment, not conflict, for remembrance, not confusion, with gratitude, presence, and clarity. We begin. Can you see?
It's teeny weeny weeny. You've got to expand it and make it bigger.
Like that?
That looks lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, in our previous session, we explored sovereignty, what it is, where it comes from, and what it requires of us as living men and women. Tonight we begin a new journey. What is law? Now, most people think they comprehend law, but what they actually comprehend are rules, regulations, and systems. So tonight we will gently revisit the different types of law to create a grounding from what we currently know, and then begin to move deeper into what law truly is, and why we as the people would require such a construct in the first place. And in order to comprehend law, we must first comprehend who it applies to. Which brings us to the most important question tonight. Let us begin with a powerful statement by Frederick Bastiat from his book, The Law, written in 1850. He said, "Personality, liberty, property, this is man." Now, this statement is simple, however, it is profoundly deep. It defines man and woman not by a name, not by a system, not by a registration, but by three living principles: personality, liberty, property. So, the question becomes, who is Bastiat referring to? From this statement, it becomes clear that Bastiat is referring to a living, breathing man or woman, a being with awareness, choice, responsibility, spirit, and life. This is not a document. This is not a number. This is not a registered identity. This is you as you were born. It speaks to what many would call God's creation, the sovereign being. And this distinction is critical because law cannot be comprehended until we comprehended who the subject of the law truly is. A natural person or a people is a human being or mankind or womankind, a living man or woman who has legal personality from birth. Such a being carries the right to personality, the right to liberty, and the right to property. And as Bastiat teaches, also carries the responsibility to protect, develop, and honor these. Natural persons are born with what we call inherent human rights. These are not given by government. They exist by virtue of being alive. At birth, you enter this world in what we may call the private realm, your feet on the land, your life in your own jurisdiction. No authority stands above that, life itself. In simple terms, life comes first, then comes governance. Now we must first contrast this with something very different. An artificial person, also called a juristic person. This is not a living being. It is a legal construct. It exists only because a system recognizes it. For example, a company becomes a legal person once it is registered. In the same way, a name written in a particular format, linked to an identification system, is treated as a legal personality within that system. This entity can enter contracts, be taxed, be regulated, be charged. But it is important to comprehend, it is not alive. It does not breathe. It does not possess inherent human rights. It operates in a completely different jurisdiction. Now we arrive at a pivotal moment in this seminar, because everything we will discuss going forward depends on this. Who are you in any given moment? Are you acting as the living man or woman, or the legal personality within a system? This distinction is not philosophical. It is practical. It determines how law is applied, how systems interact with you, how you respond to authority. This is the doorway into true comprehension. So let us summarize where we stand. A natural person is a living being, a mankind or womankind. A juristic or artificial person is a legal construct. The two are not the same. One is born, the other is created. One holds rights, the other is granted privileges and benefits within a system. So we must ask, who are you operating as in your daily life? And more importantly, are you aware of this distinction? In our society, we use many words daily without fully comprehending their meaning. Language shapes perception. Perception shapes reality. When meanings are unclear, authorities can shift without awareness. So part of this journey is to begin questioning, what do these words truly mean? Who defined them? And in what context do they apply? Because clarity in language creates clarity in standing. We now introduce a critical concept: jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is simply the authority to apply and enforce law. It determines who has authority over what subject and in what context. A court, for example, must have subject matter jurisdiction as well as personal jurisdiction. Without both, its authority cannot properly apply. So the question becomes, which jurisdiction are you standing in? Why jurisdiction matters? Jurisdiction is everything, because law, it applies based on status, context, agreement or consent, and standing. Comprehending jurisdiction allows you to respond correctly, engage lawfully, avoid confusion, and maintain clarity. Without comprehending jurisdiction, people unknowingly submit authority that may not apply to them. There are different types of jurisdiction, including territorial jurisdiction, which is based on location, personal jurisdiction, which is based on the people, the person, or the entity, subject matter jurisdiction, based on the type of issue. Each plays a role in determining how law is applied. And this is where awareness becomes powerful. When you begin to comprehend who you are, you begin to comprehend your role. You may act in certain contexts as what is known as an attorney in fact. And according to Black's Law Dictionary, we are all born attorneys in fact, and then you get attorneys at law, which write the bar test, as we know. The attorney in fact is one who represents or acts on behalf of another entity. This is not about title. It is about function. Comprehending this allows you to navigate systems more consciously and rather unconsciously participating in them. Clarity replaces confusion. So tonight, we've taken an important step. We have not answered every question, but we have opened the right questions. You now have a deeper awareness of the living man, the legal construct, jurisdiction, and the importance of knowing your standing. This awareness allows you to approach your interaction in any process, in any dispute, with clarity. And as we move into the next session, we will go deeper into what law truly is, which will be part 2. Not just how it appears, but how it functions for the sovereign. Because everything begins with this: know who you are. And as we close tonight's session, allow the knowledge shared to settle gently within you. Tonight was about remembering the foundation. Know who you are, what you are, and where your authority truly comes from. This understanding is the root. Without the root, nothing can stand. In 2 weeks, we move deeper from identity into structure, from awareness into definition. Our next session, part 2, what is law, defined for the sovereign. We will explore natural law versus legal codes, law versus legal, consent and obligation, how law truly binds, where authority originates, and how a sovereign man stands within it. Between now and then, observe your world. Notice how often systems rely on your unspoken consent. Notice where fear tries to influence behavior. Notice where you still respond as a person instead of a living man or woman. You do not need to change anything yet. Just observe. Awareness is the first act of sovereignty. When we gather again, we will take this awareness and move into clarity, structure, and lawful understanding. Thank you for your presence tonight, and thank you for your willingness to remember. And thank you for walking this sovereign path with integrity. Until the next session, walk gently, stand firmly, and remain in truth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cliffy. That was wonderful. Thank you all, and good night.
Merci.
Real.
Merci.